Welcome to episode 4. Oh, this has been awesome.
You're really excited about this.
Woohoo!
This is good.
Too much caffeine. So,
Third time's a charm, now fourth time.
I'm Richard Bliss, co-host of this spectacularly, absolutely awesome show. And I'm joined by my co-host.
I'm Aldo from Impressions, if you haven't figured that out after 3 times. But that's an exciting introduction.
It is. I'm excited because a couple of things. Aldo and I have been talking a lot, and we're excited about, and I hate using the word excited when you're trying to be exciting, but we've really talked about how there's a lot of good stuff out there to talk about. And we've really struggled, haven't we, about what do we share that is really makes it important.
Well, the game industry is an information overload alone.
Right.
So what can you do to set yourself apart? What can the games do to set themselves apart? I mean, the list goes on and on. You have to jump, and I'm going to do it, you have to jump in a crowd so much to get heard. I've always said that to people. You just got to keep jumping. And
I guess that should apply to us, too.
Yes,
we're just going to keep jumping.
Keep jumping.
So let's start. We are here to talk about some games. We're here to talk about the industry. We're here to talk about some DVDs, a whole lot of things we're going to talk about. Where do we start?
We're going to start, what's latest going on in the industry. And I don't know, I think it's more of a tangent, not a tangent. It's some interesting conversation I had with a local retailer because we were talking about Amazon's top sales list in comparison to like Board Game Geek's hotness and what sells in the game industry. And I looked it up and Richard's like, oh, Magic the Gathering. And I said, Magic the Gathering being sold on Amazon? And I went and talked to a retailer and I go, I thought that online stores couldn't do that. So anyway, that got us dealing with this list of what the top items were. And you've researched this and done this more than I have.
I have. I've done for a couple of years. If you got to thegamewhisperer.com, my blog, over the last couple of years, I have tracked Amazon game sales. And when we talk about that, we're talking about these types of games. We're not talking Apples to Apples, which is a great game. It's basically a copy of Cards Against Humanity just for children. So what we're talking about is these adult themed, sophisticated more games, right?
More hobby games versus mass market.
Yeah, more hobby.
No Clue, no Monopoly, no Battleship.
Right, and no Quirkle, no Blockus. I know people love those games, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've compiled a list, and one of the things I started to notice was you go out to Board Game Geek, and the top rated games on Board Game Geek have no bearing or relevancy to real-world popularity of games. And that's one of the things that caused me to start tracking this. And I started going into game stores. And one of the things we're going to do, if you're a game store and you're watching, and you have a top 10 list that you'd like to share with us on the show, we invite you to do that. Because I started going into game stores as I traveled and asked them, what's your top 10 list? And I noticed that the top 10 list corresponded closely to Amazon, not always, but what Amazon is. So let's talk about that. Amazon has over 600,000 different games and toys, and they lump it all together. And the problem is that when you put a game on Amazon, it's self-tagging is the term I'm going to use. Self-categorization. I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. Which means then that a game like Apples to Apples could get listed as a board game or a card game. It can't be listed as both. So you can't just go to all the board games and say, what are the top 10 board games? Because it doesn't work that way. So what I do is I track, Amazon has a number. When you go and look at a game, if you look on Amazon, it'll tell you a number in the toys and games category. And it's competing with everything, Legos and Barbies and the little flying fish and the helicopters and everything you've got out there. And so I rank them and keep an absolute number compared to where they rank. And so I have the list for today of what's the top 10 games that are selling on Amazon. Take a look at your own game store, or go into your own game store and see if there's a correlation. Go to Amazon, go to Board Game Geek, and there's no correlation. So here we go.
Even their hotness list?
Even their hotness list. Okay. The hotness is, as you and I have talked about, it's really just what right now is hot.
What people are following, what they're playing, what they're viewing.
What they're viewing.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. What they're looking at right now and what's popular out there. And one of the things, like if there's a particular Kickstarter project that's really hot, it'll pop up in the hotness.
Definitely.
Well, you can't buy it.
But it's just hot. It's
just
the buzz.
It's the buzz.
Yeah. Okay.
So here what we're doing is we're talking about real numbers. So right now, I didn't tell you the rankings. The number one selling game on Amazon And not only is it the number one selling, but it flirts with being the number one selling toy or game on all of Amazon. And that takes a lot of units. You have to sell more units in a single day than most games sell an entire print run.
I believe that.
To make it to be number one on Amazon. And Cards Against Humanity consistently every day is the top selling item on Amazon.
That's not in distribution, though. The only way to get it is Amazon.
The only way to get that game. And what's interesting is that not only is Cards Against Humanity number one game, but their expansion, their first and second expansions are number 2 and 3. So their expansions are outselling by far every other game that's out there.
Do you know what retailers do? Do you want to know what you retailers do with Cards Against Humanity? You go on Amazon, you buy it for $27.
25.
Whatever the number.
Yeah.
Let's say 25, 20. I just saw it for 27 today. But let's say 25, and you take it and sell it in your store for 35, and people are buying it.
They will buy it.
And they're buying it, and you can't get enough.
Because,
tell me if I'm wrong.
Well,
tell me if I'm wrong.
But it'll be selling for $60 because they sell out so fast. It's only available on Amazon. They keep selling out, and then they have to wait a couple of months for the print run. So if you get some, you can mark it up and make money off it. Yeah. But we're not here to talk about that. So let's go through this. So those are your top. So Cards Against Humanity is the number one ranked game. The second ranked one is our friends over at
Days of Wonder.
Days of Wonder, thank you, is Ticket to Ride. Now, this is just recent. That Ticket to Ride has normally been number 2 behind Settlers of Catan. Settlers of Catan has slipped now to number 3. Cards Against Humanity, first and second and third. that whole thing.
One.
Right, one. Ticket to Ride from Days of Wonder, and then our folks at Mayfair, Catan, Settlers of Catan is number 3. Number 4, Dominion. And that's Dominion, the base set. Because Dominion... where are my glasses? Okay.
You have a couple. You have one. Expansion.
Dominion, because the others expansions also do very well.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just Dominion, the base set. Then Pandemic continues to sell well on Amazon. It's a very popular game. And for a while, it dropped off the list, and I couldn't figure out why. It was out of print.
It was at print for a very long time. There was the transition from Z-Man being bought out by Philosophia.
Right.
And that transition. So I'm sure that was just a little hiccup in the...
I asked Zev why he sold out. Right? At Spiel last year, not this past Spiel. Yeah. You want to take a guess why?
Didn't get around to it? I don't know.
No, they made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
And
that's what he said. He didn't want to sell out. He wasn't looking to sell out, but they made him an offer. So way to go, Zev, and way to go, Z-Man. And that's a lesson to any publisher, is that find your niche, dominate it, just keep going.
Yep.
Settlers of Catan 5 to 6 player extension is the next one. So we got Cards Against Humanity, Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, Dominion, Pandemic. Catan expansion is outselling every other game out there. Forbidden Island, Matt Leacock has done well, which is also the Pandemic, creator of Pandemic. He's doing quite well. Ticket to Ride Europe, Seven Wonders, Carcassonne, and Munchkin. That it's not quite 10. If you count on your fingers, you'll realize that
it's more.
But I'm counting the Settlers of Catan, there's 2, but there you go. That list, look at your own game store and see if that list doesn't correspond. It does not correspond to Board Game Geek.
And their hotness and their top rankings.
And their top rankings. But unless the only time it becomes close is if you go to Board Game Geek and rank the games based on the number of rankings.
Oh, number of followers, number of rankings, number of votes.
How many times has it been voted? If you rank it by that, it'll start to correspond here. So there's all kinds of naysayers that will say, well, it's just popularity, blah, 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 doesn't mean it's a better game. Well, yeah, actually, you guys, people who say that sound like the snobs at the Academy. Oh, we're not going to give that movie an Academy Award because it made $100 million, $200 million. It's not a real movie. Trust me, it's a real game. And please, don't call these gateway games.
We can have a whole episode about how we don't like that term.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's a condescending term coined by the board game elitists who want to set themselves apart that, that game is something I played when I was a child and now I play adult games.
Now I'm so much mature and I can play games for 4 hours, not that little 30-minute game.
Get over yourself. Whatever. All right. So that's our top 10.
Yeah, that's our little industry. I like talking about, the industry in general and some comparisons like this. It very much fascinates me. But now we're going to get specifically what we're here for, which is our clients at Impressions.
Some new stuff that you haven't seen.
Some new stuff that you haven't seen and some stuff that you have. And actually, the week during this time that we're shipping right now, which will be the week when you see this, the products will be available. It's probably going to be Impressions' largest ship week ever in general. We just have so much. and we're gonna hit it with somebody who's been a client of mine since practically the beginning. Smirk and Dagger Games. Right here in front, you have this big giant box, Cutthroat Caverns Fresh Meat. Now, honestly, I gotta tell you, if you haven't tried Cutthroat Caverns in your store, the original base set box, here, we'll put that there real quick just to show the base set. Now, that base set is pretty dinged up if you actually look really close, because that's my personal copy, and I play it a lot. And inside is the first expansion, and then I've got 2 more expansions, and we've got the Fresh Meat that is just coming out. Now, in addition to the Fresh Meat expansion, we have the base set that's back in print and the Deeper Darker. I don't have Deeper Darker to show because, like I said, my Deeper Darker is inside my base set. But now I can take all my beautiful Cutthroat Caverns boxes and put them into here. Ooh. So this is pretty large in comparison. I mean, this is a traditional 6x9. Right. So this fits everything. Now, this is going to kind of be an unboxing. Okay. So for $35, take this in consideration. It's only $35, but that's because when you open it, it's pretty empty. But why is it pretty empty? Because it has space for all your other stuff. So there's new characters in there, new cards to play. Oh, those are the character cards right there, those bigger ones. Right. Yeah, new characters and new dungeon environments as well. So there are event cards and, of course, new attack and whatever, new attack cards and playing cards. Here you go. That's right.
Oh, there you go.
We didn't take them out of plastic. Sorry, people. But once we're done with this vidcast, I'm going to take all my Cutthroat Caverns and throw them in here. And for those of you who don't know, this is a personal side. Kurt Covert, who owns Smirk and Dagger, he is actually a marketing guy for a living. He does marketing for a living for mass market real products in New York. I mean,
that's what he does.
Pretty traditional stuff. So he knows how to market and push board games in this marketplace. So right now, there's ads on Board Game Geek for this. There's
for
the Fresh Meat and the line. So the line in general, Cutthroat Caverns.
Now, just before you go into this, let me be clear. If you buy this, do you get all this?
No. For $35, you only get what you see in this empty-ish box. But it includes an expansion and all these tidbits and the room to store all your games. So you just need the one box now to carry all.
Can I buy this as a standalone?
No, it's required to have the Cutthroat Caverns base set.
I got to have this.
You have to have that to play that. But that Fresh Meat is not for the first-time Cutthroat Caverns players. It's like a lot of extra stuff. More like the base set, you're just all generic people working together in the dungeon, but working against each other at the same time, which is the beauty of the game. As you go through the expansions, you get specific character powers, specific character this, a lot more event cards, lots of changes. I mean, you really need to go through the base set.
You're paying basically, don't be fooled by the box, is that this could have come in a normal one of these.
Sure.
And they said, you know what, we're gonna spend a little bit more extra, and now you can take all of these.
Yeah, it's a convenience factor. Everybody's just like, I'm tired of just carrying all my boxes. I mean, like I said, my Deeper Darker, because it was a flimsy expansion, the very first one. You know, my box is thicker. It's all dinged up, and I had to stuff it in there. So,
okay.
So yeah. But you know, he's doing traditional ads on Board Game Geek. There's that new magazine, Casual Game.
Yep.
Casual Game.
Stratus Games put that out.
Casual Game Insider, isn't it?
Is that the one that was on Kickstarter?
I think so.
Okay.
Casual Game Revolution, Casual Game Insider. God, sorry. They're doing ad in that. He goes to a lot of conventions. He even goes to Chi Tag, which is the Chicago Toy and Game Fair.
Which you should be going to because they have special...
Yeah, but the key difference about Chi Tag, I love Mary Cousins. She's an awesome woman. She does Discover Games. Her market is more the mass, and that's what Chi Tag is. It's more for the families coming and playing and sitting down with your kids. And you're not going to take Cutthroat Caverns there, but Smirk and Dagger has other games.
But if, for those who are publishers, if you've got a Kickstarter game, like Garden Dice was a Kickstarter game, you go to Chi Tag because for the first 2 days is the Toy and Game Inventors Conference. And that's where the folks at Hasbro.
The forums are really cool. I've heard great things about it only through other clients of mine who've done there, including Kurt. But Kurt at Smirk and Dagger. Smirk and Dagger has other games like Run for Your Life, Candyman, Shooting Ladders. He has Sutaku. Those are all more, they're not Cutthroat Caverns. They're not hacking and slashing games. But that's why he goes to Chi Tag. He's going to PAX East as well. Gen Con, DexCon, Dreamation, and again, a trade show. They're a sponsor at that. So,
lots of cons.
You know, lots of cons. I mentioned the restock of the base set, which is what people have been talking about. And then there's going to be a new adventure book show this in there. This is an adventure book too.
This is new?
Yeah, no, that's one of the existing expansions. There's another one like that coming out in January with an exclusive card, and it's actually a flip book. So it has adventures
So
in
I
there.
flip it really fast and takes little pictures?
No, to say- 2 covers, front and back.
2
Look
adventures.
at that.
Oh, look at that. I
So,
went for the little oh, no.
so anyway, so I tell you this. I challenge you who are listening to us. I challenge you. If you seriously, as a retailer, bring in Cutthroat Caverns and you don't sell it, you have me on video saying right now, I'll take it back. I'll take it as a return. And I'll give you your money back. I'll give you something to replace it.
Wow.
Because if you're a hardcore gaming store,
Guaranteed it's going to
it's-
sell. You're going to guarantee it's
I
going to
gotta
sell.
guarantee Cutthroat Caverns. Well, that's just for me because I enjoy it so much. I mean, it's a gamer game.
He's guaranteeing that you'll sell it if you bring it in your store, and it's a money back guarantee.
Yeah, I guess I will. If you don't, I'll give you something in equivalent from another Impressions client. There, you got me on the spot.
Money
I'll
back,
replace it.
money back
I'll
guarantee.
give you something else.
Sound like
And I'll
Peyton
probably-
Allen selling $2
And I'll probably
million.
throw you demo games too.
There you go.
I'll probably throw you some demo games in the kit as well.
Well,
Anyway, yes, it's a personal recommendation. Enjoy the game a lot.
all right. Cool.
So we spent a lot of time on Cutthroat Caverns, but it deserves
Well, there's a
it.
lot of stuff.
It deserves it. This is what game stores that are hardcore gaming stores need to have in their store if you have those hardcore gamer games. Gamers
This isn't a gateway game.
is not a gateway. Sorry.
Jeez.
Pause, edit.
Okay.
So now it's funny that you say you're talking about gateway games. Let's go to the antithesis of Cutthroat Caverns. Let's talk about garden dice.
Garden dice.
Let's remove this from the camera. Let's
Okay,
pull this
go
off to the
there.
side. And then the next one is going to be garden dice. This was a Kickstarted project. It did quite well. It's a set collecting game with
Dice.
plants. You're rolling dice to where you're going to plant. You plant your garden. You can then on
Wow,
your turn.
they even have a German version. Cool.
Well, if I got to tell you, board game publisher, if you don't have multiple languages, come on. I mean, it's so easy now to do. I mean, you don't even. They did what, 3 or 4 different sets of
Yeah,
rules.
it looks
You can
like-
all put it in the same book. I mean, it's not a problem. So it's a very traditional board, but the pieces inside, you have your vegetables.
Yeah, you got vegetables.
And you plant your seeds. You can then choose to water, and then they grow, and then you harvest. But it's set collection. So it has the gamer strategy element, but it has the layer. The theme is a little bit more mass market. So this is great for your store. If you're one of those stores that's not just a gamer store, and that you do have things like an apples to apples, or stuff that where you do have a section for moms or families to come in to recommend. I think it's great. It's like,
What's the age on this?
oh, everybody's. You know what? That's so funny. Even though the age says 10 plus,
Is my 7-year-old going to be able to play this?
yes, I think set collection. Yeah,
All right.
I mean, and you know what? The kids are going to enjoy planting. But if your kids like my kids, they're gamer kids. My 8-year-old can definitely play 12-year-old games.
Okay, so tell me,
Or my 8-year-old at the time.
and this isn't on the script, so I've got Farmageddon.
Okay.
How's this different? Is this
Unfortunately, I haven't played Farmageddon, so I don't know.
okay? Just there seems to be a theme going on with gardens and crops. All right.
So one of the things that Garden Dice is doing, the Meriday Games, MER001 is the stock code. They're going to some local cons, Mace and Scarab, but he's doing Board Game Geek ads as well to promote the game.
How did you, I don't remember how well he did on Kickstarter.
It was about 40 to
All right, so he did
50,000,
well.
46,000, 300, 400 backers. Don't quote me on it. But something like that, and they've done very well. It'll be in stores. So like I said, if you're one of those stores that you're beyond the hardcore gamers only stuff, you want to bring in something where you can talk to the mom or the family or a group of gamers that wants something a little lighter, that's not 4 hours. Garden Dice is going to be,
How long?
that half hour, hour.
Okay. So
I mean, what does it even say? 60 minutes.
60 minutes. So it looks like that might be something I can play with my family. Oftentimes I'll look at a game whether I'm going to buy it or not, based on not whether I'm interested, because I got a lot of games that I'm interested in, but I can't find anybody to play with. So this one, my kids, I'm going to be able to play with my kids.
Yeah, I need it too. I need those games too. My
All
kids
right.
are, even though they're getting older, they're still, They're still
family
young enough, means
activities,
family activities.
Thanksgiving. We're
Yep.
not playing Cutthroat Caverns on Thanksgiving with my
I
$5.
will not play that with my girls. Sorry.
All right.
The next one, we've got role-playing stuff. We've got Dungeon Alphabet. We've talked
Okay,
about...
honestly.
What? You're interrupting me already? That's not in the script.
Okay.
Role-playing.
All right. Role-playing, RPGs. Really? Do RPGs sell? I just keep hearing that RPGs don't sell well. And you seem to carry a lot of RPGs.
RPGs are a tough sale market for a store. We know that. You want to know why there's a lot? Much easier to print a book than it is to do all these parts,
Okay.
and components. And you can do this in the United States. Most of the time you're doing these in China. RPGs are easy. You can put them as PDFs. You don't even have to print a book.
That's Monty Cook. I had him on my Funding the Dream episode 98. Yeah, and that was one of the things that we brought up is that he actually, pretty much everything is PDF. And he did Numenera. 500 and some odd $1,000 for an RPG.
Yeah, but he's got a heavy name.
He does, but still, so RPGs are continuing to do well.
Okay, so your question will relate what you brought up to why these.
Okay.
Why these? I'm
So
going to give these. We'll do the standard one
All right,
first.
what do we got?
Joseph Goodman from Goodman Games, he has a line of system-neutral products, which are generic. And a couple years ago, he did the Dungeon Alphabet. And he took this old-school artwork from Errol Otis, Jeff Easley, and that whole first edition feeling, and made basically this idea of like a kid's book. Like A is for adventurer, B is for battle, but it's DM elements to help you, help DMs.
So this is like a primer.
It's yeah.
That says, okay, I want to, let's just take a look. I want to, D is also for dragons.
It'll tell you how to incorporate dragons into any generic game system with tables.
D is for doors.
Yeah.
And which printing is this?
That's a third printing, and it's an expanded edition, which means the very first printing was $9.99. It was less pages. It was a hardback. It was a great smoking deal. It was something he took a chance on doing. He felt gamers needed something low priced, good value, and it did. Now he's added to it. The print runs lower than the first two, so the price is $19.99 now, but there's more to it. But one of the things he did in conjunction with it is what's below is a limited edition version, which has some extra tidbits in it and this gold foil cover, but it's limited to. I'm pretty sure it's of 500. So it was done in conjunction with this print run to, of course, save, print them at the same time.
These are kind of cool.
They're cool, but that goes back to your question. What's the big deal? Well, it struck a chord, I personally think, because of the way it presented itself. It was a different flavor. A, B, C, D, E. It was kind of like a children's book. Oh, it's so simple. I can look.
But it's definitely not.
It's definitely not. It's for the DMs. But it's really cool how they did it.
And it's obviously, because I don't want to diss Joe or the work he's done, because if this is in its third printing,
it's a consistent seller for those stores that buy RPGs. And for RPG numbers, they're very good numbers.
All right, so...
But it's rare.
But I don't play RPGs.
It's very rare.
And so I guess it's something I need to start thinking about.
It's RPGs. We can have another episode about the state of the RPG industry and how you survive in it. But PDFs are part of it. Hardbound
books.
Hardbound books, regular printed books. Those are, you got to do everything. You have to go to conventions. You have to sell on your website. You got to do PDFs. You got to do sample preview pages, like on RPG Now and DriveThru they do. I mean, there's so many things you have to do as an RPG, but harder to sell, easier to produce them, because you're writing and laying out, simply pages. No offense, not that it's easy.
But compared to
putting in opponents and all this components and stuff, it's just intense. But the one thing that he's doing that's marketing wise is I think, like I said, is the content and the way it's formatted. He's not like doing ads anywhere. Very few RPG companies do ads, like print ads.
But he has a following.
But he has a following, and it's system neutral, so it applies to anything. It's not just his Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game, or 4th edition, or Pathfinder, or Castles and Crusades, or any one of those. It's system neutral, can be used with anything. But Joseph Goodman's local, so he goes to a lot of the local Bay Area conventions here, DungerCon, KubaCon, Pacificon, and then he has another guy who does some writing as well that goes to the conventions under the Goodman Games moniker out there. So, that's the scoop. I mean, it's sold for a very long time. So,
all right. And Joe's been over, and we've played games, and don't play Carcassonne. Don't play Carcassonne.
Let's see if he's even watching this vidcast to hear this.
Don't play Carcassonne. I got invited to play Carcassonne with him, and it was just like painful. Okay,
they got the message. Don't
play Carcassonne. But his RPGs appear to be fairly awesome, and they're doing
we
well.
featured the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG, so it's done well. Next one, second to last, Dungeon Crawler. The funny thing about that is, I think, and this is from a new publisher, Gifted Vision. They were actually at Gen Con a couple of years ago, and they just got to Gen Con and then ended up just selling direct and paused for a really long time. And
so what are we looking at here?
This is the funny thing about this game. What's the title? Dungeon Crawler. What is it? It's a dungeon crawling card. I mean, that's what you're doing. It is very traditional. It says what it means. So it's a standard game. It's pretty cheap. It's $25. Oh, did you hit it? Maybe we can edit that out.
Nope.
So it's $25, and it comes with enough where you can actually play by yourself or play a short two-player game. So that's the base set. To tell you more about the game,
you can play by yourself.
Yeah, it's a one-player. Their stand is being knocked down. That's to me a trend. A lot of these games are doing these one-player options. I personally don't like it. That's just me. That's like me with co-op games.
That's playing an RPG by yourself.
Oh, yeah, no. So one of the things, Dungeon Crawler, the folks, he's actually from Canada, so a lot of the cons he's gone to are up in Canada. So, but he's been to Gen Con. There's Fan Expo, Phantasm, GriffCon, Con Bravo, Anime North, Kanji, HammerCon Games. These are all.
And what's the price on this?
$25.
So I like the feel of the box. I know. Is this their first game?
That's their first game. Yes.
Okay, so you can kind of get a feel that it's a first-time publisher, but I kind of like it. I like the artwork. I like the glossiness. It seems pretty straightforward and
it is,
simple.
and it's straightforward, and it's one of those. It's kind of like apple pie. It's safe, It's safe. It's to the gamers. They want dungeon crawling. It's very appealing because of that.
Yeah,
so
I think.
So
okay.
For themes. Now we're doing demo copies through our demo kit program, of course. That's one of the things we'll do. They've got promo cards that are available direct, T-shirts, and game mats. I don't think the game mats are free, but I'm not sure. But I know they have them available. So if you're a store and you want to support that, they have their own demo stuff.
I think this might be worth a try. I think you could. I think the size,
I love
the price
the
and the size. Yeah,
I'll play anything that's a dungeon delving game. That's a personal thing.
All right.
So the last thing we're going to talk about is really it's different than what we traditionally do because it's not a game. But impressions, if you haven't seen, we've done a lot with DVDs actually, bringing a lot of gamer DVDs to market. Because I was noticing that some of these were only available at like Walmart, and it's like, why would you have a gamer game in Walmart? Like it was like The Last Lovecraft. The Last Lovecraft was one that we worked with a company called MPI, and it was live action, got great reviews, but it was like available in the mass market. What gamer is going to go buy something like that at Target or whatever? So we've done very well. There's some gamer documentaries we've got a couple. But here's the cool one. This is what we've got. Impressions this week will be putting out the first 5 seasons of The Guild on DVD. Now, why is this a big deal? Because people say, oh, The Guild, it's available for free on Netflix.
This is Felicia Day's.
This is Felicia Day's The Guild. Yeah, and we know gamers. Everybody loves Felicia Day. So she starred in a lot of other things besides The Guild, but this is just
got Will Wheaton in it.
Yeah,
Season 4.
Yeah, he was in the season. So what's the marketing behind this? The Guild, the name. The downside people wonder is it's for free online. It's for free, but even the Order of the Stick books were free as well. So unfortunately, they still sell.
What's the price point on this?
$14.95
Okay.
For each one, except the first one is seasons 1 and 2 for
$19.95. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So I think they'll sell by themselves. They didn't send me any information on what they were doing to market or whatever because I think they're leaving that to us to do it. And I really think the name alone is going to get gamers out there going, yeah, it's free, but I want it for my collection. I want to hold on to it because there's bonus features and things like that.
Okay. Well, I think that we've pretty much covered everything this time. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's a big week. Big week.
Big week. So thanks for watching. I'm Richard Bliss, Aldo Giazzi. We are your hosts, and we think that we've shown you some really cool stuff that you need to go take a look at. Cutthroat Caverns, Garden Dice, Dungeon Crawling. What's that one?
Dungeon Alphabet.
Dungeon Alphabet.
And the Guild.
And the Guild.
Felicia
Day. All right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Have a good one.
See ya.